which
We've been
is
doing this for 30 weeks.
30 weeks.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
No.
No, neither can I. We've had 30 Sundays together.
Jeez.
Various configurations thereof.
Yes.
And like I said even before, I might just be doing this alone next week.
Yeah, you might.
I might be. So, because I'm still looking for people.
I sure won't be helping you out next week. So.
Sure. No, that'd be with what you just told me about how much bandwidth is costing. I would not ask you folks to do that. So.
Well, no, I mean I won't be there. I'll be in transit.
I mean, like I said, I'll be there, but you know, I don't know. It depends on what time you want to go on. So,
that's true too. Let me see why, but I don't think I'd want to. I'd be afraid you guys would be spending all your bandwidth because I don't know if they have caps either.
Right.
You know. So hello everybody. We are just about to start. We are live. We've been live for about a minute and a half.
Hello.
We haven't said anything crazy yet. We may have Nancy may join in. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Blame July 4th washout here in New England for all this.
Yes.
Because we got washed out and everybody's redoing everything. So everybody's parties, everybody's fireworks. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Thank you very much. Just lost the microphone there for a couple of minutes. All right, if we are ready, then I am ready to begin. Okay, in 3, 2, 1.
Hello? Are you ready? Then we'll begin.
It's finally ordinary time. Couldn't you? Really, how long did it take us to get to ordinary time this year? And in a month, we'll be sick of it. But hope you're not sick of what we're doing. This is Monday Morning Catholic, episode, believe it or not, number 30.
6:30 Monday morning. I'm here hiding in my bed. A song plays on my alarm clock as I cover up my head. Somewhere in the distance.
Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good ordinary time to everybody. Welcome to another edition of Monday Morning Catholic. I am your host and moderator, Joanne Mercier, and I keep talking about it being ordinary time. Thank God. I'm not that I don't like a good solemnity or a good season, but get there.
It's been a long stretch.
Yes.
It sure has. And speaking of long stretches, 30 episodes long.
Yes.
Let's see who we have with us today on the podcast. We were hoping to have the full crew, but we still don't yet. But we have Linda Reed, Director of Music and Liturgy, St. Thomas Parish in Providence, Rhode Island. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I am good. Very good.
Wonderful. And we have the very patriotic Steve Romano. Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish, Bristol, Rhode Island, who's exhausted from everything he had to do over the weekend. How are you this morning, Steve?
I'm good. I'm very good. I survived, so that's all I can say.
You survived barely, it sounds like.
I survived. And actually, our feast goes all this week. So I'm just about, I'm not even a third of the way in yet. So we'll have our Triduum tonight, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. And then next Sunday is our procession, which I will not be there because I'll be traveling to St. Louis for the convention, for the NPM convention.
Now tell me you've got somebody good to sit in on this.
Yeah, I have. I'm blessed that I have a local parishioner, and also he's the local funeral director too.
Oh,
so there you go.
He'll play.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll I'm gonna play Saturday night, but he'll play Sunday morning, and then basically it's basically a living rosary.
Oh, okay.
And then a procession around the town common, and then after that is benediction. So It's not too complicated.
Yeah.
Because we have the band, the Portuguese band, believe it or not, that they hire to provide the music for the procession.
Oh, well, there you go. They don't need you.
So no, they don't need me, basically. So
the Portuguese band providing music for the Italian procession.
Yeah.
It's Joanne. It's I wasn't going to say anything, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
So
It is.
yeah, but you know what? They're good, and
Which one is it, you know?
you know, I think it's the St. Elizabeth's band,
Okay.
because I think they have a band,
I think they do.
or it's the Portuguese, and it's I know that they provide all of the music for St. Elizabeth, so they have to be tied in somehow.
Okay.
So and they're good, you know, they're all ages, and they, you know, there's it's nice to have the music to accompany the procession.
Oh yeah, well, I'm used to it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I grew up, with the Portuguese bands, and usually our processions have like at least 6 or 7. So that's and you hear the sound. And of course, when certain statues come out, there's a hymn to them. So
Of course.
Oh,
stand in front of the
Well,
church, statue
yeah.
comes out, play the certain hymn.
well, our church is situated right next to the Bristol Train of Artillery.
Oh, jeez.
So what happens is everyone files out into the street,
Mhm.
and they blow off the cannon
Oh,
Oh,
to signify the start of the procession.
jeez.
And let me tell you, everything shakes.
Oh.
Car alarms go off. It's quite
Oh,
baby.
jeez.
Oh.
You know, babies cry.
Yeah.
But and then the band starts, and we just go around the town common. It's not very far,
Mhm.
but it's usually 95 degrees.
of course.
You know,
Aren't
and
you
so
quite-
and then yeah, I well, see, since we're on television here, I won't,
You said it.
say. Yeah. But actually, you know, I mean, I was lucky. My pastor was very good about being understanding that I really wanted to go to St. Louis, and to be honest with you, the cheaper flights were early in the morning.
Mm.
So
Yeah, and that's what happened.
off I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, he's a good guy for doing that. So you can't argue with it.
Well, that's
No,
why
so
I'm not
they'll
leaving.
be
That's why I'm
fine.
not leaving till 3:55, because I had to pass by the expensive flights to get to the cheaper ones again.
Oh, okay. And since I don't fly, I don't know any of this. So
I would have liked to have gotten there a little earlier, but
I hear you. Well, we are here again this week, as we
and
want-
there's Nancy.
And here comes Nancy.
Woohoo!
Whoa! Okay, so Nancy's here now. We'll put that up again. That's okay. Nancy Smith,
Yes,
priest at St. Christopher's Parish in Tiverton, Rhode Island. Good
we're
morning.
live. Oh,
We are
Yes, we are.
right now. We thought we'd let you know that. That's why I'm doing it.
okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm having a few computer problems, so I apologize for the delay.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Now, you know, let's get out of this for a minute. I texted you to find out what was going on, and I knew something must have been going on because it was unlike you not to be right there. So
Yes. So I apologize. So we can keep.
We
going.
can keep rolling.
so we were just jib-jabbering. You know,
Okay.
about how you know the weekend was. Looking forward to St. Louis. All of that. Are you looking forward to St. Louis?
I am looking forward to St. Louis. I'm absolutely looking forward to St. Louis. I'm looking forward to. I didn't get to go to NPM last year, and it was the first time in decades that I haven't gone. So a little withdrawal, and so I absolutely am looking forward to going again. Great group of people. Great.
And plus, you get to spend the whole week with us. So
Yes.
I do. Stephen, you know,
There's a thrill.
That's a good thing or a bad?
You know, and there were years that Stephen and I were the only 2 people that went. And so
I know, huh?
there's wisdom in huh, Stephen?
I think
Well,
this year there's about 10 or 12 of us from Rhode Island. So
Oh,
Yes,
that's
I
great.
saw that, yeah.
And we will talk a little bit later about what to look for when you're out.
Okay.
So, because Linda has a great thing.
Okay.
What?
You told me this morning about it.
What do
Okay, well, maybe she won't tell you because then maybe you're going to have to look for it if any of you are out in St. Louis.
Oh, are you talking about what I told you about the mass?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was like, what did I tell her?
Hold that. Don't give it away yet.
Okay.
Many other things to do, like the reason why we are here every week, because we like to take a look back at the past weekend's liturgies and try to make some sense of them all in some way, shape, or form. I've already been grabbing my cup of, it just says tea, and that's what it is, folks.
I don't know about that.
Well, I don't even have a cup of anything.
No. All I have is a candle on the table. That's it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, grab your favorite whatever and join us.
Here we go.
And see that we've already gone off the rail.
Yeah.
Just gone off the rail a little bit. So now with the whole gang being here, let us begin with our first segment. Do you hear what I hear? Do you hear what I hear? All of the readings this past, thank God we are in ordinary time. We jumped all the way to 14. So this was the 14th Sunday in ordinary time, and we had readings from all over the place, which were so nice.
Yes.
I was just ready for it, and that's why I keep saying it. It was just like, okay, when do we get?
Me too. I was ready for it.
Maybe because Easter was late.
Easter was late, and then we had that extra feast thrown on the end of Peter and Paul.
Yeah.
And it was like, when was the last time you had to wait till July to get to ordinary time?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So I think we were all ready for it. And then, of course, here in New England, we had to deal with a hurricane named Arthur over the weekend. Yes, who really mangled everyone's 4th of July.
Yes.
So,
4th of July itself was a total washout.
And that's why I'm wearing my red, white, and blue shirt.
Red and blue shirt. Yep.
Everything was moved.
Yes, everything
was moved to either the 3rd or the 5th or the 6th.
Yes.
It was my town, yes.
Yes.
And it's been nuts ever since. I mean, my neighbor's party that was supposed to be Friday night, moved over, and the fireworks were moved over in town, and they didn't last very long either, which I was pretty upset about. Because you're waiting for those. You wait 2 extra days for the fireworks, and they go like 15 minutes.
Oh, see now, don't jinx me, because ours, I'm going to see ours tonight. So
ours are tonight as well.
Yeah.
We had our own personal one last night. Our guy across the river decided he was going to have a display over the water. So we thought we were being bombarded. I looked at Ralph and said, "They're incoming!"
Yes. We did too.
Yes.
Yeah, last night about
9:30,
10 o'clock, we had just gotten home, and there were bombs going off everywhere, and I was funny, I logged onto Facebook, and everyone was writing the same thing. Bombs here, bombs there, bombs everywhere.
Yeah, we could hear them all over the place.
Yeah.
I knew how Francis Scott Key felt with the rocket's red glare.
Exactly.
And this being the 200th anniversary of the writing of the Star Spangled Banner.
And me being from Baltimore.
Yes.
And I got we saw the fort last year. It was cool. It was so cool for me.
Yep.
That was like every school trip in the world.
I'm sure.
That's like Plymouth Rock being every school trip in the world here.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, the first time we went, everybody was like, "Oh, yeah, this is cool. This is cool." Then we had to go again and again.
And again, yeah.
So the readings we had this past weekend, we began with a lovely messianic idea of world peace with Zechariah 9 through 10, and those of you who are Messiah fans would immediately hear it in your head, rejoice greatly.
Yes.
Daughter Zion, and having sung that many times, it was the first thing going off in my head.
I thought it was interesting that it showed up in July,
It showed up a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I can see why it was plugged into the gospel. I can understand why it was plugged into the gospel reading because of where the gospel went. We'll get to that in a second. But of course, I said I wasn't going to. I said this to my husband earlier, and well, guess what? I'm going to say it anyway. Twitter was all buzz this weekend because of certain words that were used in that, a certain word that contained in that first reading.
Yes.
And it was said twice.
Right.
And
because I giggled.
Right. Everybody on Twitter.
You didn't.
I did giggle. Yeah.
Be right back.
I stand there and think to myself, they couldn't say donkey, you know? They had to say.
Yes,
Linda, at least we didn't have to sing it, you know?
At least we didn't have to talk about the jawbone of one either.
Yeah.
Because somebody did say that on Twitter too. You know.
I'm thinking about the Palm Sunday readings. You know, there's one gospel that doesn't talk about a donkey.
Yeah.
Then there's another gospel that makes liberal use of the word that we heard today.
Right.
So.
A double money signs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just think it's funny that everybody on Twitter decided they were going to make a joke about it. down to television.
I took a furtive glance over at my grandson, who's autistic, for anybody who doesn't know that. And when they said that word, his face went, you shouldn't hear that in church.
And then they said it again.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear it the first time.
Yes.
Not the second time, exactly. Moving on to Psalm 145. I will praise your name forever, my King and my God, which is one of my favorite psalms.
Which we did.
Who else? I know. Which was that a solite that we did?
That was the solite that we did. Yes.
Very nice. What did you two do? As far as Psalm 145.
This weekend was our feast. Well, but wait a minute though. Three of our masses used the 14th Sunday and ordinary time readings.
Oh, okay.
Unbeknownst to me until the last minute. So we used the Haas, I will praise your name.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Steve.
And then the 10:30 Mass was our opening of our feast for Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and I used the Chaponis Magnificat.
Because you use different readings.
Yeah.
Correct. And as I said last week, the lector announced that we will be using special readings not found in the missalette, and I turned around just for my own entertainment from the choir loft and looked down to see people thumbing feverishly through the book. So, but the Haas 145, our people really sing it well, so that's the one I used.
Our people came to sing.
Man, our people came to sing this morning.
Yeah, they were singing.
Was it in the water? Because I have to say the same thing.
Yeah.
They sang everything.
Maybe it was in the water.
Even the rehearsal, they sang.
Yeah.
When you could get them to be quiet.
It was like, yeah, I know. And the worst offender was a nun over there. Anyway, it was fine singing this morning. I just backed right off the mic and played the guitar.
Yes. Moving on, Romans 8, 9, 11, and through 13, the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit. Which is one of my favorite readings, and I know I've told the story about being in concert choir and mangling that.
Oh.
You know, I do have what I call fractured hymnody. If any of you are familiar with Peabody and Mr. Sherman's fractured
fairy tales, yes.
You know, I have fractured hymnody.
Yes, she does.
I actually do. And that's part of it. And how we made up ye are not in the flesh but in Milwaukee, I will never to this day, but it sounded good when you're doing all those passages. But
it fits, yeah.
It does fit. So, and funny was nobody was from Milwaukee who said that.
Oh.
I don't know why they thought that. But see, that's what happens with fractured hymnody.
That's right.
And Matthew 11, 25 to 30, one of my absolute favorites.
Which is one of my absolute favorites, too.
Gospel passages that come to me, though you who are burdened, heavy laden, you know, take my yoke upon you and learn from me. I love that.
Yeah.
That is, in fact, one of the churches that I served, Sacred Heart in North Attleboro, that was their stewardship.
Mm.
That was on all of their letterhead and everything back then. I still think it might be now.
I had one of the teenager sacristans last night say to me, "Oh, Mr. Romano, I just learned what a yolk was. I always thought it was, you know, part of an egg."
Yeah.
I learned the other meaning of a yoke, and I just laughed. I think he's probably 14 or 15. So
Yeah.
I just laughed and kept walking.
Well, the yoke's on him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, but bump.
I can't resist when I get a rim shot. I can't resist. In fact,
we had a lesson on yokes in the sacristy this morning.
Oh dear.
The pastor was trying to explain what a yoke was, and he said if I put ropes around, he was talking to two servers. He said if I put ropes around your two necks so that you had to move together as one, that would be you would be yoked together.
Right. Exactly. And in fact, Father Barron's homily. I believe the title is the yokes on something. You know, everybody's again between first reading and the gospel.
Yes.
Everyone is a comedian.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did we do this week? Now, Stephen's homily is probably going to be different, unless.
Well, did everybody?
No, I actually took notes with the ordinary time readings.
Okay, good. All right. Then flip a coin, and who would like to go first? I'm taking.
Go, Nancy.
Go,
Okay.
Nancy. Go, Nancy.
Go, Nancy. Go, Nancy. We had a guest priest today, and because Father Shemek is still on his vacation, and he came in full barrel. I'm not going to name names. It was nice. I mean that in a very good way. He didn't come in very meek and mild like I think a couple of the other replacements might have been. But he came in, and we're here to celebrate our life and God and yada yada yada, and children come down for children's liturgy, and we had maybe 5 today. It was very lean, but they all came, and so that set the tone for him. And basically he said it's going to be short and sweet today, folks. He said I had to be short and sweet over at the other church because I didn't have air conditioning and we were sweating bullets. and he was joking, and he says, but now you get the long one. But he says, no, you get the same. And basically it was very short and sweet, and based on the gospel reading more or less, talking about his first line was, we all come to the table of God as beggars.
Oh.
And I'm going, ooh, yeah. And he just gave an outline of who we are. We're sinners. Don't forget that. Each and every one of us are sinners, despite the fact we may not think we are, or think we might be beyond that, or whatever. We all are sinners.
Yeah.
In reality and in God's eyes. And the way we come, the reason we come to the table is to seek God's help and to seek God's assistance, to seek everything that is God in our life to make things whole and not get rid of, but to heal our sinning ways and such. And how it's a circle. He really described it as being, he didn't say circle, that's my word. But you come full circle. You come in, you come to the table as a beggar, as a sinner, you accept God as part of your life, as part of how you live your life, and then you go out now and serve the Lord. And now that in the next week you're back still as a beggar, but each week, it was very well done. He put us all very nicely in our place and made us like where we were because we were there because of God and our faith in Him. If as silly as that sounds, that's how I felt.
Good.
And people at the end of Mass, they applauded him. Hope you invite me back, and everybody was clapping because he did touch everybody. And sometimes simple is very, very good.
Simple usually works.
The simple usually works.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Next up.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
Well, we also had a guest priest.
Oh, geez.
And
the weekend of guest.
Same thing, short and sweet. But it was interesting. He paralleled the Emma Lazarus writing on the Statue of Liberty. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses longing to be free.
Oh, I just read somebody else that did that.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was going to do.
Okay. And he paralleled it to Jesus in the gospel.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
he basically said, almost what Nancy, you said, we all come to the table as beggars, but we all come to him, and he extends an invitation, and he used this phrase, and I underline this, because Jesus is our harbor of safety.
I like that.
Which is what I liked. And, he kind of went on and said, everyone runs in circles searching for material wealth to satisfy our temporal needs. But, exemplified in today's gospel is that, in all of us who are burdened, we come to Jesus and we discover our spiritual needs satisfied. And how that, all the temporary stuff of this world is very fleeting, but Jesus offers peace which lasts for eternity. Nice. So that's Bazaar's, and I guess from what Joanne said, he might have gotten that idea from somewhere, I don't know. So, but again, as I said last week, we all use music planners, so I guess we can't fault them.
That's right.
So,
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They have homiletic planners as well. So I know that for a fact. So
yeah.
And the case is, if it's something good that works with what their thoughts are, then why not use it? Absolutely.
Why not
and
use
actually,
it? Right.
and I actually was proud that I programmed in "You Are Near," Shooty's "You Are Near," which we don't do that often, but it worked today. So,
Oh, cool.
Very good.
And they even sang the right words.
That's because you have the change in your hymnal.
Yeah, we do have the change in our book, yes.
Yeah, we don't.
I told you last week, Linda, get us all to write it in one Sunday.
Yeah.
Take out the pencil that's next to us.
Take out the pencil that's next to you.
Well, why don't you go ahead and I will say this, and I didn't say this to you previously, it felt like there were 3 different points in the homily this morning.
Yeah, which is really unusual for our pastor.
3 different, it was a trinity, a triune.
Because normally our pastor has got a point and he makes it.
Yep, there were 3.
But today it was fractured, and he did the homily very early in the week because he had a lot of plans for 4th of July.
I know. So did everybody else, I think.
He sent me the homily like on Tuesday.
Wow.
So that may be that he was still a little scattered. But at any rate, he started out by saying that this was 4th of July weekend. And we reflect on the freedom that we have been given in this country, and that it's a freedom that is earned by the blood of many brave men and women, and that it's a freedom that continues because of the sacrifice of our soldiers. And that we have freedom of religion. It allows us to gather here. It also allows us to complain about our elected officials without getting thrown in jail.
That's
which isn't always the case in some countries.
This is true.
And freedom is very important to us. But as Catholic Christians, we have to remember that we celebrate another freedom. And that freedom was also bought by blood. And that freedom is that we could live as God's children. And that freedom is the freedom to yoke ourselves. You had to get the gospel in there somewhere. The freedom to yoke ourselves to Christ, so that together we can lessen the burdens of others. It's kind of like Jesus is not going to do it, with a zap from heaven. He's inviting everybody to come to him and yoke ourselves to him, so that we can go out and do the work of lightening people's burdens. He threw in a little bit of St. Paul, which reminds us to not be a slave to the flesh, and said he was not going to go into the whole thing about spirit and flesh.
Yes, because he didn't want your husband. He said your husband would be better, but then everybody'd be bored.
My husband would be the last person in the world to stand up and say anything. So, but they're always afraid to preach in front of Pat because
I would be.
I wouldn't.
Well, John just got over it really fast. So, anyway, that we are to be a people of not, in the short of it, people that live according to the flesh, live according to possessions, status, success in life. We are called to live as people of the Spirit, putting the notions of love, service, hope, and compassion first in our lives. Then he went on to the fact that it's ordinary time. He and Joanne were both really impressed that it's ordinary time.
Yeah, he just jumped right into that, and I was like,
jumped right into that. And he said that he's convinced that we experience God in the very ordinariness of our lives. And he used his favorite quote, which appears in about 50% of his homilies, about Blessed Mother Teresa. We are not called to do great things, but rather we are called to do simple things with great love. And that is what our Christian freedom means. So we need to be children of the Spirit and yoke ourselves to Christ and work to make the world a better place and do all these things with great love.
in ordinary time.
In ordinary time. So there you go.
I just sat there and I went, okay, there's thought one.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's thought three.
It's just unusual for him, you know?
It is. But he tied it all in a nice ribbon.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So it worked. Since there were three great homilies, and they were all in the ballpark, but all very different.
Different.
I will just say to folks, go on over to Concord Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
ConcordPastor.blogspot.com, because you have to say all of that, because he uses the same Emma Lazarus poem, yokes it to Come to Me, and then talks about, how both of them are calling us to, to something. The first one calls us, it's an invitation, both offer an invitation for those who are really heavy burdened to lay their burdens down, whether it's in the country or whether it's at the feet of Jesus. So it's and then he talks about his trip to Haiti. So that if you want to read all of that, I would go over to see our friend Father Austin Fleming, ConcordPastor.blogspot.com. Something that I would love to add to this segment, and none of them know this, well, because I didn't get a chance to see it beforehand, is that I'd like to see if we could come up with, when we do these now every week, we should come away with one practical thing we can take away from all this. We hear these homilies, and now we've been talking about them for 30 weeks.
Yes.
One practical thing do you think these homilists are trying to, I'm going to ask us to examine them a little closer, instead of just recalling them now and saying.
I can tell you our pastors.
Okay, go.
It's practically the same every week.
Okay.
Really.
This will be easy.
This is his message, and it's a dang good one. No matter from which angle he approaches it, it's always we take and eat and are nourished in order to go out and nourish others. We're not supposed to hoard this for ourselves like we're hoarding points for heaven. We're supposed to take whatever we receive at liturgy and go out and share it with others. And that's in one way or another, that's his message every week.
Okay.
He also uses the phrase in our everyday lives a lot.
Yeah, he does. I don't want to go into the counting.
No, but I listen to it 3 times a weekend, so.
So yeah, you would. But that's something I want us to think about. And if anybody else out there in our lovely viewing land wants to share what their pastors and presiders are talking about, please send it along to us.
Yeah.
This we always have a, right after this section say, okay, from last week's scriptures, we heard, we've got some other interesting, outlooks from other places. So please send it to us. MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com. Okay, there really is a MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com. You can put it at MondayMorningCatholic.net in the comment section. You can slap it up on the Facebook page, facebook.com/MondayMorningCatholic. And I know some people have been there because we've had some lively discussion this week.
Geez, I must have missed it.
Well, there was one this morning. This morning.
Oh,
Okay.
And it was.
yeah, I'm at church, so I'm in the yeah.
Yeah, some of us,
And then the parade.
Yeah.
some of us get up early. Or you can do what we always ask you to do. You can leave voice feedback, 774-955-0659. I swear I won't use it on the show if you don't want me to. But sometimes it's easier for me to hear, somebody has something to say. That's a great place to go. So please, any of those different methods you can use to contact us and give us your feedback. It makes it it will make it more fun for us. Knowing other folks who do podcasts, they say when the audience gets in on it, it does make it more fun for the presenters, and we want that as well. So please send us feedback so that we can get your voice heard in the midst of all this.
Sure.
Okay? Moving right along to the liturgy and ritual aspect called The Right Stuff. We put up on the Facebook page this past week a post on children at Mass. Someone started sending around Facebook a something that's included in their parish pews, and I liked it so much that I did put it up there because, yes, there are a lot of folks who, while they love children, don't love children at Mass.
Yes.
And would prefer that they are in the cry room rather than anywhere else, which I think is too bad, seriously. And I just think it's great. It's a pew card that starts with, to the parents of our young children, may we suggest. So these are not tongue-in-cheek or not sarcastic. They're not sarcastic.
And they're not suggesting they go to the cry room.
Right, and they're not either. They're really giving them things like, okay, sing the hymns.
Yeah.
Sit up front. Sit up closer to the front.
I have a really solid example of this working. There's a couple who has a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And they're adorable, absolutely adorable children with big, full heads of curly hair. Anyway, they used to sit in the back because they figured they could make a quick exit if,
And that's what the parents think.
And their kids were god awful. I mean, even the 5-year-old who was like 3 and 4. I mean, they've been coming since they were born. I remember the 5-year-old's baptism, okay? So even the 5-year-old was real pain, making all kinds of noise, whining, crying, the baby screaming. And one day, about 6 months ago, they decided to sit right in front of me. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, God. I'm liable to sing the great amen for the memorial acclamation. I'll be so distracted. Those kids were so interested in what was going on, and they were perfect. Perfect. And so when I read that little thing, I thought, yeah, let the kids come up and see what's going on. Because, I mean, I'm up there providing a great show for anybody. Any kid that wants to, play the guitar.
I have to say, my previous parents, that's what the pastor told the families, and he said, you've got to try it, you've got to do it, and there was at least 90% success rate. And of course, they would sit right in front of the music. I agree with you. The distraction for us, however, yeah.
But it's true, and it's difficult if the parents are not forming the children in how to go to church. If they're just giving them, a set of keys and letting them run up and down the pew,
right.
That's a whole different story.
That says we're here for an obligation.
Yeah.
That doesn't say we're here to worship.
Or we're here to train our children in the worship of the faith.
But the sad thing is they may not know what to do because they weren't taught.
Yeah.
This goes back a couple of generations. We have to keep remembering that it goes back.
But yeah, I liked that thing. I liked that paper.
And I also liked what it said at the bottom, to the members of our parish.
Yes.
Here's the other side. Please don't make people feel like they're, committing cardinal sin number 1.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of places need to have some work.
Well, there's a difference between a blurt and a sustained 4-minute crying jag.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
If the kid has bumped his head and is screaming and holding his breath so that the whole congregation is worried about this child, yes, I think you should take it out, so that everybody else can pray.
But even so many years after Vatican II, we're still giving people permission to do stuff like that at Mass because they think I can't move once I'm here.
Oh, that's so silly. Yeah. That's so silly.
But it's not, because they look around and they're like, okay, now I got to get out of the pew.
No, I mean, it's silly that they still feel that way.
They feel that way,
yeah.
Yeah. They obviously have never been to a Greek Orthodox service. For 3 hours, you're coming in and out. People are going in and out, going to the bathroom, coming back. They don't care.
Or Mass at St. Thomas, where kids are getting up and going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Through the entire liturgy.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, there was a lady in the crying room, and God bless this lady. She still comes every week. She has 3 kids under the age of 4.
Oh, my gosh.
And she's there by herself, and she's got a newborn. So it's like 1.5, newborn, 1.5, and 3.
Oh.
And the 1.5 is he's up and walking around. He may be a little bit older than that. But anyway, I went in, and she was all nervous because the kids make noise. She was in the crying room, and I said, no. I said, none of us feel that way. Yeah. And I went through what we've just been talking about, that this is the future of the church, and you do what you need to do. And the kids are. This is a good place for the kids to be. And we went.
But Nancy, at least at your church, I think the cry room is a little bit closer than way in the back, right?
That's correct. Right. It's about halfway. So,
right. So it's not like they're. Yeah.
They can see. Yes, they do have a visual.
Yes.
Yes, they do have a visual. You're absolutely right. And so what happens is, the lady's trying to receive communion on the very same day. I look up, and the middle child is up in the sanctuary.
Oh.
And I'm going, okay, this is the child I made cry just by looking at it, but I've got to get the child out of the sanctuary, only because I didn't want him pulling on things and things falling down. Right. And the lady wrote me a little email afterwards. She says, I thank God that that we were talking before Mass, and that because when I saw you going up to get my child, she says, I was absolutely mortified. When I was you, she said, I was thankful. And so, you don't know.
Yeah.
And but it's the future of the church. If these kids aren't coming, nobody's going to be in these pews in a few years.
And I remember doing a Mass one time with Father Hawkins at St. Luke's.
Okay.
And it was I think it was a funeral, and it was during, I think, the homily. This kid little kid just barreled up there, and God bless him, he just rolled with it.
Yeah.
He didn't get upset or anything, and he just kept going. And the kid kind of just sat next to the pulpit, and he just said, it's all right, he's fine. And but I think that that helps put some people at ease.
Absolutely.
I know a few times at our church we have the loft, and a few times a father has come up holding their toddler or whatever and said, "Do you mind if I just stand in the corner?" Because he it's better for him to see. Little Tommy likes to see what's going on. Fine, I had no problem with that. It's when they come up on their own that they run up the stairs.
Oh yeah.
But if a parent is holding them and they just want to see what's going on, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because our church is old. It's pre-Vatican II style, where the cry room is way in the back.
And what good is that?
Yeah, and I honestly,
nursing a baby.
Yeah, right.
Seriously,
so
that's
about
the only thing you can really do. You can't see anything.
No, so.
But no, I really applauded whoever put this up on the internet, and I thought it was worthy. And I'm going to be doing that from now on. I'm going to be putting up on our Facebook page things like this, and if you want us to discuss it, this is another way to get involved. If you don't want to send us feedback, come to the Facebook page, like us, and then like whatever we put up there. This one, I put more than 2 this week, but this was the one that got likes.
This is well worth it. I really.
Why we're discussing. So I'm hoping that if there's anything.
What is it, Nancy?
I just said I thought that was so well written. Some of the talk here is choppy, is cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah,
for me anyway. So yeah, it was just so well written and so point spot on.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, so well worth reading.
There's going to be more than one parish that's going to plagiarize and take it and put it in their own. But you know what? I think that's why they did it.
Yeah.
That's why they put it up there to share it. So thank you, whoever did that. We will now all be putting that in our pews. So that helps the church at large. Okay, moving on to our technology and evangelization section called, as you can tell, Can You Hear Me Now? And it was another one that I put up on Facebook from Greg and Jennifer Willits, the Archdiocese of Denver's Family as a Domestic Church. Their Archbishop, Aquila, put out, I guess, had Greg's office, because he's head of evangelization and family life for the Archdiocese of Denver. They have their own podcast, The Catholics Next Door. I'm plugging away. Shameless plugs here. And they put together a 2 or 3 minute video that actually comes with PDFs that you can download and use in your own family. And I thought it was so smartly done. This is the kind of stuff that needs to be put out there for folks, because I know as a director of faith formation, what people always would ask me is, how can I do this? Where can I get this information? Where can I find it so I can use it in my own family? Well, this is part of what's going on. You don't have to be from the Archdiocese of Denver in order to get this. You can either go to the Catholics Next Door. Theirs is newevangelizers.com. You can go to archden.org and get it, but it's for everybody. And it's really practical, because Greg and Jennifer, if you ever listen to their podcast, The Catholics Next Door, I got started listening to them when they were in their first incarnation called Rosary Army. And what I liked about them, not because they were promoting the Rosary, but they are 2 very down-to-earth people who are trying to live a Catholic life with their 5 kids. And they talk about it every week, or as many times as they can manage to podcast. And they're just like the Catholics Next Door, thus the title. And they spent 4 years on Sirius satellite radio, and now they're back in podcasting again. And I just completely love to hear them. Now, I don't have kids, but they still talk about other struggles that they have as human beings, and I can certainly, plug into that. So I've met them. They're very, very nice folks. So if you really, families especially, if you're looking for, and this is non-techie stuff, you can watch the video and then you can download the PDF. If you can click to download something, you can get their suggestions and use them at home, and I think it's really great stuff.
Great.
So, I don't know if any of you guys have, I put stuff up by either Greg or Jennifer before, I don't know if you've listened to them. Listen to give them a listen sometime. They are hysterically real. I'm not even going to say hysterically funny. They're just real.
Oh, good.
What I like. And
right. I'll have to go back and listen.
And Greg is not a New England Patriots fan, and I took very, very I got a lot of kick out of when I was calling into their show and just getting him on that. He thinks I'm a big Patriots fan. I keep telling him, no, I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm a really.
I feel sorry for you.
They're the current World Series champs.
Yes, they are.
Just say that.
Soon to probably be decrowned.
We'll say that for this year, and then we'll move on, okay? Because we're just not going to talk about what's happening.
Oh, Lord.
How about Mookie?
Excuse me?
Mookie Betts?
I will say, now that we're going off the rails.
Off the rails.
I saw Mookie Betts in Pawtucket a couple weeks ago, and they would not. Let's put it this way: I never got to see him really smack anything because they kept throwing balls at him.
They didn't want him to get anything. Yeah, that tells you one thing there. So
tells you something about him.
Exactly. Okay.
So I
back
was
on the rails.
Yeah, back on the rails again. I also today stumbled upon on Twitter. If you're looking for, we're talking about our guy. I mean, we talk about the homilies from our parishes or wherever we happen to be on the weekend. But this is somebody who is actually putting his out on the internet, and they're in small pieces. Okay. This is Father Gerald Souza from the Archdiocese of Boston, and I found his stuff today on YouTube. And believe it or not, he was giving his past weekend, little homilette on a kayak in the middle of a river. And then I looked up and I find him doing things in other places too. So this is a guy I think people should check out. They're small, maybe about 1 minute to 2 minutes long, and they are on the previous weekend. And,
nice.
Check them out.
Is that just punch in Gerald Souza?
Yeah, Gerald Souza with a Z.
It's a Z. Okay.
Souza, the second one.
S-O-U-Z-A.
Either S-O-U-Z-A or S-A, and I know that because my mom was a Souza, so I know that well. She was an S and he's a Z.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy's a G. A Z. Okay.
A Z.
Check him out on YouTube.
Souza with a Z.
It's like, exactly, like Liza with his S.
Yeah, Souza with a Z, not
with a Z. Not.
And
I'm sorry, that just came to mind.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
It happens with musicians.
I know it does. I know.
All right, Catholics in the news this week.
Not me, thank God.
Fall River Diocese Bishop Edgar da Cunha.
Yay!
Yes, the first non-Irish Diocese of Fall River. And yes, and because 60% of the population of the Diocese of Fall River is Portuguese.
There you go.
And can I ask the important question? Where are they from?
He was the auxiliary bishop of
No. Where are the Portuguese people in Fall River from?
No, they're from the Azores.
And this new bishop to be is from?
Is Brazilian, but they will they will give him a pass because he's not Irish.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at Nancy stirring the pot. See that?
Who, me?
They will give him a pass because he's not Irish. What have we had in the Diocese of Fall River? English and Irish. And most of them have been Irish. So with a diocese that speaks Portuguese fluently, okay? Oh man, they loved Cardinal O'Malley when he was bishop because he spoke Portuguese. And I'd see him come to the Portuguese parishes. They were like so thrilled that he could speak Portuguese. So they're going to give this guy, I know they will. The Azorians and the mainlanders and Cape Verdeans and Brazilians, it's 4 different dialects. I know. And Madeirans, there's a 5th dialect.
Oh, gee.
So,
and it's not like I would know. I just had a couple of Portuguese people say that to me. So it's oh well, there's going to be some issues maybe. What?
Are they upset?
No.
I didn't think they would
No,
be.
they weren't upset. It was just a pointed piece that there is a difference.
Oh, there is a big difference.
That's all.
He will speak.
I am stirring the pot, Joanne. I'm not being stirring the pot.
And he will speak Brazilian way too fast.
Oh.
Portuguese way too fast. So, all right. And
Well,
the buzz here next is the NPM update. All of you are going to the convention but me.
Yes.
Yes. But we have some things planned. Now, at the convention, these people that you see in front of you will be noticeable. Why is that, Linda?
We're going to try and hunt down people and interview them.
Well, other than that, but people can find you too, correct?
Oh, yes, they can find us too because I made little tags, and of course I was going to bring one up here to show you, but they're downstairs.
Oh, a ribbon?
No, it's a little laminated piece. It's about this big.
Yeah.
And it's a little piece of artwork.
Nice.
And across the front of the artwork it says, "Ask me about Monday Morning Catholic."
Oh God.
Okay.
so in other words, I should cancel the specialty Hershey bars with our
No,
logo on
no,
it.
we'll hand out
Yeah.
Hershey bars too.
And the M&Ms that say MMC?
Yeah.
No,
They
it just
love
says,
candy.
"Ask me about Monday Morning Catholic," and we'll have, if somebody asks, we'll have little cards to give them.
Okay.
Yes.
So this replaces the kick me sign on our back then.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you,
Get those
Linda.
full-size Hershey bars because you know how
Well, I
much
figured we
convention
can
goers
either
love
tie
to-
it to our badges or our
Yes.
purses.
Yes.
Even if you're carrying a purse that day, you can tie it to your purse.
And I'll put it up here on my bald head. Right here. Okay.
So, if
Well-
you meet these people in St. Louis, then you need to ask them about Monday Morning Catholic, and maybe they'll even film you.
They may.
They may. And we may have some other friends showing up, and what is going to happen is, hopefully, if this all works and bandwidth doesn't kill us, the cost of bandwidth, that is, every day that they're there, we will have something posted, and I will either audio or video. It may be raw footage. I may not be able to do anything with it. If I can do a lead-in, fine. If I can't, oh well. We're going to put it up for your consumption and to give you, to those of us who are not there, a taste of what it's like to be in St. Louis this week.
There's lots of fun breakouts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
hopefully
gonna
we'll
be
get
fun.
lots of fun people to say hello to us,
Yeah.
and give us some insight. We're not sure what our questions are going to be yet, but if you have any interesting questions, you can send them along to us. Another shameless plug as we wrap up here.
Why not?
Okay, mondaymorningcatholic@gmail.com. You can put it up on the Facebook page, and of course you can send that voice feedback. 774-955-0659. We will do our best to bring whatever we can to you the week of the convention.
I'm going to do my best to channel my inner Gene Valicenti. Those of the local people know what I'm talking about.
Oh, God, can't
See
you
yourself.
channel somebody else?
Oh,
Be yourself.
commentary.
Be yourself. Okay, I think we got this thing wrapped up, and we've just
I hope so, because I got to go see fireworks now.
totally.
Okay.
So I thank Linda Reed, Nancy Smith, Steve Romano, and all of you out there for joining us again this week on Monday Morning Catholic. And like I said, next week I may be alone. These guys will be in St. Louis. I just might be alone. We'll see what happen. But we will have some specials for you coming up. So stay tuned, okay? Thank you. God bless. And ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.